Hey everybody, Anish Majumdar here, career coach and expert in the hidden job market, here to talk to you about a very, very important topic. You're going to see that scrolling across your screen there. What are some signs that your boss might see you as a threat instead of an asset, and what can you do about it? I really wish more people would talk about this because it's an issue that really trips up careers right, left, and center. And unfortunately, it predominantly sort of prefers people who are really good at their jobs, Scapegoating, which is the business of saying, look, rather than us looking deeply at what's gone wrong in our company and changing that, instead of doing that, it's so much easier. It's always easier to blame one person, right? And I've seen in my work as a coach, this happened over and over and over again. There was someone, Rafat, I worked with recently, who is amazing at HR. She was hired to ostensibly drive massive amounts of HR-related change, but the problem was she accepted that job in a company where they were really getting paid to be part of the status quo, to really not rock any boats. So from day one, she was getting marginalized. From day one, she was getting placed on the outs. We're going to go through some of the signs that she experienced that you should also be on the lookout for in case that you're worried that you're also going down the scapegoating route. So it can happen like that. It can happen from day one like that. But this problem of people seeing you as a threat instead of an asset can also emerge after the fact. In other words, you can start out in a really great situation and make progress, and somewhere along the line, you reach this like tipping point where all of a sudden, wait a minute, where did my allies go? Where are the people who need to have my back in this, including my boss? What happened to them, right? So Dave, who's someone I'm working with right now, he has experienced a situation where he's brought on to solve high-level growth-related challenges, right? Does an amazing job, but instead of the natural inclination being like, oh, wow, you succeeded here, how can I make more grist out of this? How can I give you more resources, more trust, more ability, right? More of what you need to keep making this positive change happen. It was exactly the opposite. You did our job? Great, get the heck out of here. And before you know it, very surprisingly, very shockingly, he was gone. Right? So scapegoating can really, it's all over the place, right? And what you do not want to be is naive when it comes to this, okay? So talking about not being naive, one thing I would really appreciate, if you're not, if you're just being aware of what me and my team are up to, we specialize in getting people out of job search hell forever. If you want more advice like that, if you're looking for free tips, advice that actually works, hop on over to LinkedIn, put in the word Anish, A-N-I-S-H, put in the word career, shoot me a follow, stay in touch that way. All right, let's get into it. Number one, in terms of these signs, right? The signs that you should be looking for. You seem to be the only one who is constantly getting reprimanded or written up. I recently worked with someone who said, Anish, I knew the writing was most definitely splattered over the wall when every Monday, basically our boss would call us in and ream us out and yell at us. Now, the difference was that was everybody. That was an entire team that was being scapegoated, right? Usually in a company, it's individuals, right, who get picked on. It's individuals. And I want you to pay attention, okay? Because it's not always going to be as obvious as me, like, my pointing the finger at it. It can just be in the tone, right? It can be an accumulation of interactions, emails, phone calls, face-to-face situations where persistently the tone is, instead of great, good idea, here's how we can do it, it's like, hey, stop screwing up. Nope, don't go outside your pay scale. Nope, I only want you to do this. Nope, that's a step beyond what I want you to do and what I'm looking for you to do. That kind of tone, that kind of mentality and approach to the work that you are doing consistently is a really, really, really big problem. In the worst case scenario, there are companies that will literally be like, look, here's your employee file, right? It's grown by 15, 20 pages. What they're really trying to do, right, in the worst case scenario is actually start a clear paper trail that's going to make it easier for them to let you go, right? That's where a tone of constant reprimand usually ends up in, right? So this is something that you really want to be aware of. Now, what can you do to sort of shift this? The best thing you can do is to have what I would call a reset the stakes conversation with your boss, and understand right now, this is not going to be a love fest. There's probably going to be some, if not several, awkward, strange moments. That's good. Get it out, right? It's better that it get out through communication than be divined like this. But what you basically want to do is you want to take your ego out of it, come in with zero goals aside from this. I want to re-understand what is most driving this person in terms of what they most need to do, and I want to recommit and reassure that I am in alignment with that. That's it. That's your only job with this reset the stakes, is to get beneath the BS, get beneath the daily, right? Get right back into a zone of wanting to understand. And as long as you don't go in there with ulterior motives, like I'm going to save my job, right? You're going to get that insight, right? And if nothing else, that desire, right, to do that is always going to look better on you in any company worth its salt. Now, if the boss you're talking with, if the supervisor has already 100% made up their mind, you're not going to get anywhere in a conversation like that. They might say yes, but you're going to realize, hey, these defenses can never be lowered, in which case it's time for you to seriously start ramping up a search and start getting some other opportunities out there. In fact, if you're watching this video and this is resonating with you, this might well be the real lesson here, right? The real step, which is, hey, it's time to really think about a different job, right? So number two, people you were previously friendly with are now acting curt and rude, right? So this is a big one, right? People that you might have relationships with, people that you might be very friendly with at work, all of a sudden, it's clear, right? When they go out, you're not invited. When you overhear what they're talking about, there's whole snippets that are gone there, right? So what's going on here, right? Usually, in the most toxic cases, a boss or a supervisor is openly bad-mouthing you, but oftentimes it doesn't have to be like that. If you're in a company that is filled with, talented people, high performers, right? They can pick up on the clues, right? And going back to the first point, if other people have noticed, right, that you are the one who constantly, in terms of the attitude that the boss has, the attitude that the leadership has towards you is like, nope, come on, it's a little remedial. They'll pick up on it, right? They'll say, hey, I don't want to get too close to this person because obviously they're doing something wrong, right? So what's the countermeasure that you can take here? One thing that you really can do is to single someone out that you perhaps had the friendliest, warmest interaction with, and quite frankly, confide and ask for help. Confide openly in terms of, hey, I'm just trying to understand because, my feelings honestly are a little bit hurt here. I don't really know whether I did something or whether, and this is why I'm really leaning on you confidentially here. Can you fill them in on the situation, fill them in on what you've been experiencing, and then ask for help in terms of, have you heard anything? Is there anything that I should be aware of? And just be open without judgment. The thing you don't want to do when you take this step is you don't want to judge the person giving you the information. You don't want to shoot the messenger by saying, what? That's not true. I don't care what they tell you, right? I don't care how off kilter it is, and it probably will be. Just thank them for that and thank them for the information and move on with that understanding and that knowledge. Understand the information that you're getting through these points, it may result in you saying, hey, this is worth the time, this is worth the energy, worth the trouble for me to fight for this, reset the stakes, repriorities. Or it might be like, hey, you know what? 90% of the guns are aiming at me. There's no way that I'm going to escape this, in which case I may as well use this time to ramp up what I need to, right? And move it forward that way. The third thing I want to talk about, growth opportunities have completely dried up, or else your access to them has, right? Even if it's something as simple as, the Friday strategic meetings that you always used to be a part of, that they're like, hey, you know what? Even without openly disinviting you, you don't have to be a part of that as much anymore. If you don't want to, it's voluntary. That's a very common way that people will start getting marginalized at work. It's like, hey, you know what? You've been a part of these for the last 7-8 months. You don't, just so you know, you don't have to start taking part in each one. And before you know it, you're not taking part in any of them, right? The more overt way would be to actually take parts of your job away from you, right? Being saddled with the responsibilities of someone who got fired and not being paid more, not even having the opportunity to, that's not a promotion, right? That's just as much something that we give to someone where we're like, look, they're going to be out inside of a year anyway. Might as well have them do the dirty work while we hire someone better, right? So in the overt case, if they've actually taken away stuff from you, if they've taken away the strategic aspects of your job, and certainly if you're looking at the next 6, 9, 12 months to come, and there's not at least enough there to make 30 to 40% of your job new for the first time, you're not growing. And that almost never happens by accident. That almost always happens intentionally, right? Because the people that we really want around us, the people that we're going to promote, the people that we're giving them more responsibilities, we're giving them more resources as well as we're moving around. So this is something to really be aware of. Number 4, you are being so, by the way, in terms of the growth opportunities, there's not much you can do about this. Certainly you can't really attack this if you haven't had the conversation with your boss. From that point onwards, what I would do, by the way, is if you have a productive conversation to reset the stakes, make sure, even if it's once per week, great, okay, at a minimum, send your boss a follow-up email aligning what you're doing, what your team is doing, very obviously with those goals that you've identified in that reset the table. In other words, take away any possible avenue to get reprimanded for going off the reservation or whatever, right? This is in line. From now on, you are rebuilding in line with what those what those priorities are, right? That way you are taking away that power, right? So if this is going on as well, it's very, very hard to start advocating for more growth opportunities. Really, the best thing you can do is start having conversations, start building opportunities with competitors, other clients, other companies, people doing interesting work, and then start using some of what you're learning, even if it's anecdotally, to apply a little bit of pressure, at your current place in terms of, hey, why aren't we doing this? Why aren't we looking at this? But this is very hard, and honestly, if this is going on, you don't have much growth there, it's going to look bad. So the longer you're in a job that doesn't have any growth potential, the faster I can, on the hiring side, for example, look at that and say, oh, this guy's an underachiever, skip, right? So it would behoove you to fight for this and at the very least get some clear understanding in terms of what does the future hold here, okay? Number 4, you're being nickel and dime to death. This is a pretty self-explanatory one. They take away resources. They take away things that you need to do your job well. They might even say, hey, you know what? You've been so successful doing it at half resources. We wanted to make that a real thing. What they're really trying to do is trip you up, right? They're trying to make it really obvious that you're going to fail. So what you need to do first and foremost, have a paper trail going, right? Respond, make it clear this is not enough. That in terms of the goals that we have, we don't have enough X, we don't have enough Y, we don't have enough Z, that you're very concerned, right, about the ability of you and your team to carry this out based on these, against your recommendation, resource cuts, whatever you want. It is very, very clear, even if nothing changes, that there is a clear, verifiable, written back and forth that is giving your take as a leader in all of this and making it clear that you're not good with it. What you absolutely do not want to do is be a team player and say, fantastic, I'll try to do this job with half as much of a staff. You get screwed up, you get fired, you get blamed for everything wrong, basically, that happened in that side of things. That is not what you want to do. Okay. Finally, there is a growing paranoia about what you're doing on LinkedIn with your network outside of work hours, etc. This might even extend to companies saying, hey, look, you're only allowed to publish this verbiage on your LinkedIn profile. BS. You're not allowed to talk to these people outside of this. BS, right? If this is going on, it's weird because you would think if you're on the outs, why do they care? They don't want you sharing secrets. They don't want you sharing your information. They don't want you pulling the rug out from under them until they're finished marginalizing you and getting you out the door. Okay, so the answer here in terms of what you want to do here is, first of all, do exactly what you were going to do, right? Build the relationships, do exactly what you were going to do there. No one has the right to stop you from doing that. No employer has the right to stop you from doing those things. But if you're caught, or if they ask you, hey, how come you updated your LinkedIn profile so much? How come I'm seeing so much more activity? Just frame it through the lens of, hey, I'm doing this so I can better embody the job that I have with you guys right now, and I can better deliver the results that I see. And I'm not happy with the actions that's being taken there. Right? Make it clear that this is a direct extension of your professional life as it pertains to this job, not as it pertains to what you want next. And again, any somewhat reasonable employer will definitely understand that. If they don't, and these things are stacking up, you've got to get the heck out of there as soon as possible. And if you want to speed up that process, I would recommend hopping over here right now, helloanish.com. You can go deeper with my career videos, trainings. You can start the process of rebranding. You could even learn the strategy that our clients have used, over 2,000 of them, to generate now over 650 million in closed offers all through the hidden job market in the last 3 years. If that interests you, hop on over there right now. Either way, keep hustling, keep it coming, and don't let the haters and the doubters stop you for just one moment. Talk soon, guys.